Ed here with the Digital Digest, and today I wanted to share my first update on my experience with the Steam Deck. So as you can see, I've got God of War booted up here, one of the many titles that pretty much does work flawlessly with the Steam Deck. And what I can tell you so far is that I'm really impressed with what Valve has done here. I mean, the range of broad compatibility with this, the fact that emulation is something you can absolutely do, which this is, from appearance, a perfect console for. And the fact that everything looks as good as it does, I mean, again, granted the resolution isn't that high, but these are PC titles. Now, granted, God of War is really not a PC title. It just, as we know, got to PC this year, and it's certainly anything but new, but still incredibly popular. Looks visually stunning, both on PlayStation, on PC, and here. So it's got that going for it. But this is just, in my opinion, one of those titles that people are going to want to play, like Dying Light, in spite of the fact that it's, in my library, Gen 1. But still, it's not like it changed that much from, the first version to the next. But there are so many titles. I think I have access right now through a pal's library to about 140 plus titles that do, make Valve's Steam Deck certification mark. So I'm going to be putting in a lot of time seeing how things work. Now, it's not perfect, the story here. I have had some hiccups, no question about it. And really what I would say so far is that in spite of those hiccups, again, how dynamic it is in terms of how many different PC titles you can play, and then the fact that this is basically perfect for emulation, if that's something you're interested in, you really aren't going to find anything quite like Steam Deck. But then again, the tough part is finding Steam Deck right now. I know many of you are still waiting for your reservations, just as I was. And, of course, they missed the mark with me. It was delayed, but here I do have it in hand. The only thing I will say, besides the few hiccups and bugs that are still there, and excuse the fact that this is too dark to reproduce with the hardware I'm using to film this, at least in its current state, is basically, I do wish I could run Windows on here. It has all of the hardware and capability, but I know I'm in a minority of users wanting to actually be able to at least eventually dual boot, but I don't see Steam, aka really Valve, wanting to optimize this to run Windows, because that's not what it's designed to do, in spite of the fact that it has the CPU, RAM, and certainly the storage. It has all of the capability. So ultimately, even though this is an ultra-mobile PC designed for gaming, I think that's good enough, especially if that's what you want to do with it. PC gaming with a side of emulation, or maybe in the reverse, emulation with a side of PC gaming. I think you're going to be really happy with this. Now, I'm going to jump out of this. Granted, that's just storyboard here, basically getting started on the game. But if I jump into my library, you'll see that I have a lot of titles to play with here that I think are going to be fun, ranging from AAA type stuff to, more of the traditional emulation experience. Granted, it's not emulation, like, Sonic Mania, Valheim, really small games that are fun and easy to play, that are going to give you, I think, plenty of entertainment and won't take up a lot of storage. Now, keep in mind, I do have a 400 gig SD card in here, but remember, you can't launch games from that. This is something where, for me personally, I probably, if I really wanted to expand my storage at this point, I would open this thing up, or I would just use an external NVMe drive. And to give you an example of a drive that I think is ideal for this, it would be this little guy right here. Sabrent makes a lot of really small drives. This is the Nano Rugged, the Nano line in general, affordable, really small, and more than enough speed for a device like this. So it's really a matter of what you want to do. But overall, again, I'm loving this. I think they've done an excellent job. If I had to really pull one criticism, the fan noise, right now, I'll bring it up to the camera so you could hear it. To the microphone. it's certainly audible, but it's got to stay cool. Battery life seems decent, but of course, at full performance, it's not going to last very long. And at least that's what I'm seeing here so far in using it. But overall, I'm really impressed with what they've put together here. So I'm going to spend more time with it. Again, these are the titles right now that I have, in terms of installed games. And, Elden Ring is another one I likely will demo if that's something of interest to all of you. But these are the ones that I just felt were, pick up and play. Let's see how things go. And I mean, Mortal Kombat, just to have essentially a fighting game that I thought would also scale well on here. And all of these titles are going to be ideal for this sort of console. Just remember, depending on the storage capacity you have, that is going to shape your experience to some degree. And that's where, again, the micro SD card as well as an external NVMe drive go a long, long way. But so far, really enjoying this. I think it's worth every dollar. It's pretty amazing that Valve was able to put together a package like this at the price that they did. One other thing I will mention, and a lot of people aren't going to use this, but the touchscreen experience does leave a little bit to be desired, but that's not what this is designed to do. It's designed to be used as a console with the directional pad, the analog sticks. So I can't really fault too much with that. Would we have benefited from a high refresh display? Maybe, but at 7 inches, I mean, my Fold's display, that's my phone, is larger than this console. So I can't really get too picky. I am definitely accustomed to looking at least 120 hertz. So a little bit spoiled, I am. At any rate, this was just a quick update. More coverage will be coming. Any questions or comments, please feel free to post them. Hit that like button. And as usual, please feel free to subscribe and please stay safe. Later.